Good afternoon, students. So, today we are having a lecture on the project method of teaching science. Project method was developed as a method of teaching by J.A. Stevenson, and this method is based on the philosophy of pragmatism developed by John Dewey, the famous educationist. So, the philosophy behind it is learning by doing and learning by living. Also, learning through association, cooperation, and activity. These are the philosophies underlying the project method. Now, let's see some definitions of project method. The first definition given by Stevenson: a project is a problematic act carried to completion in its natural setting. Second one, given by Kilpatrick: a project is a wholehearted, purposeful activity proceeding in a social environment. A third definition on project, given by Ballard: a project is a bit of real life that has been imparted into the school. So, when you analyze all these definitions, you will understand that a project is a problem solving act, and this act is carried out in its natural setting. It's not an artificially created problem, but problem is a real one. It and the problem solution is actually carried out in its natural setting and mostly in the social setting. So the problem which we choose for the project should be a social problem which will be solved in the natural setting. So it's actually a real life problem which the child tries to solve. What are the basic principles of project method? The first principle is principle of purpose. So the project carried out by the students should be significant and of interest to them. It must be purposeful and combining life with learning. So the project activity should be of some purpose for the child. It should be for some interest of the child, and it should be significant for the child. They don't just do it just for the sake of it. The second major principle is principle of activity. So human beings by nature, they are highly active. Project method also involves a lot of activity, mental activity as well as physical activities. So the principle of activity should be taken care of. The principle of reality. As we have seen in the definition, a project should be a real one, a natural one. So it should be imparting some life learning lessons. So it's solving a real life situation problem. So principle of reality should be taken care of. Principle of freedom. The project activity should be spontaneous and not forced by the teacher. So there should be ample freedom given to the child to select a project and select what activity he wishes to do during the project, how he wishes to do. All his opinion should be taken into consideration while organizing a project. So, freedom is given to the child during the project selection as well as execution. So, four main principles of project method is principle of purpose, purposeful activity, principle of activity, lot of mental and physical activities are involved. Principle of reality, whatever they are doing should be a natural, real thing. Then principle of freedom, always freedom is given to the child. Now let's see the process of the project method or the major steps involved in the project method. The first step is creating a situation or providing situations. The teacher has to provide a number of problem situation to the students so that they can choose from that. Just not one situation, but a number of situations are given by the teacher. Situations can be provided through informal talks, maybe a visit to a place, in some other way, maybe through a video. Teacher shows a video which has a problem situation. Uh, so a number of problems are presented in front of the children by the teacher on a particular topic. That's the first step, providing situations. Second step is choosing and proposing. So now the child has a set of problems in front of him. So he can choose uh, one particular situation which is of interest to him. So the child will analyze the different problem situations given to him, and he would select the best one which he feels he can do it in the best way. So according to his interest, his ability, his choice, he picks up one situation which he will try to solve. The third step in a project method is planning. A lot of planning goes into the execution of a project. So this planning will be done in groups. Normally, every project is done as a group work. So all the students who have chosen a particular situation, they will have a meeting together and they will discuss upon the problem in front of them. Teachers should be there, always there, guiding them. Guiding in the sense like what difficulties they would face while carrying out the project, what are the available resources with which they can go ahead, what limitations are there, how much they can do about the project, etc. So this guidance on part of the teacher is very essential. Otherwise, children will take up a project and they will be uh, hunting ways of solving it, trying out many solutions which may not take them to the real solution. So guiding, under the guidance of the teacher, the students carry out a lot of discussion and they come up with a plan. That's the third step. The fourth one is the execution of the plan. So during the planning phase itself, every group member will opt for a particular activity that they would do during the project. Every child in the group has to contribute towards the success of the project. In other words, every child has to do something or the other, a part of the activity, to complete the project. So during the planning phase itself, the work is divided among the group members. So every member knows what they are supposed to do. So during the execution period, each member will do their part and do it with extreme sincerity. So activities like collecting information, visiting various places and pupils, looking up for maps, writing letters, referring library books, observing specimens, studying history, keeping accounts, calculating prices, inquiring rates, measuring, and doing all sort of activity, doing experimentation, interviewing people, like that. A set of big set of activities, whatever is required for the completion of the project, they will do that. Next step of the project method is evaluation. So any activity has to be evaluated. So the success of the project is evaluated by the students themselves as well as the teachers. So students evaluate the activity by comparing their plan with their product. So they will see whether whatever they had planned has been done successfully and they have achieved the goal, or they have solved the problem, that they will see, and that's the evaluation part. The last part is preparing the report. So any activity has to be recorded. So the project also, for the project method also, a report has to be made and recorded and kept. In that report, starting from the set of situations they got in front of them and the situation which they have chosen and proposed, why they chose it, plus what happened during the planning phase, and which student was given what activity, all that, and during the execution, what all they did, what was the output, what were the findings, and what are the inferences, all that is recorded. So these are the steps of a project method. So coming back to the steps, the first step is providing a set of situations. Second one is choosing and proposing. Third one is planning. Fourth one is executing. Fifth one is evaluating. Sixth one is preparing the report. Now let's see what are the advantages and limitations of a project method. It involves a lot of group activities, so it promotes cooperative activity and group interaction. This helps in developing a lot of social skills like communication, taking leadership, taking initiative, solving conflicts, etc. It gives them training in democratic way of learning and living. So in every phase of the project, there is a democratic outlook, like you have the freedom to choose a project, you have the freedom to pick up what activity you want to do, you have the freedom of discussing openly, etc. So they get a taste of democracy. It gives teacher the dignity of labor, and pupils develop respect and taste for all. So there is a lot of activity. So it develops a dignity of labor. They might have to go out and interview people, maybe do some social service activity also. So dignity of labor is encouraged. This particular method, one big advantage is that it encourages correlation of different subjects. See, when you're doing a project, there are quite a few number of subjects which are involved. Every project will involve, even if it is a science project, it would involve maths, calculation, it might involve certain statistics, it would involve history, going and studying the history of something, it would involve sociology, interacting with people, it would involve geography, go and find, for example, if you take up the pollution issue of a river in your vicinity as your project, then you have to go and you have to understand the geography of the place, you have to understand the chemistry of the water in that river, you should understand the life of the people around along the riverside. So biology, what are the organisms which are living in that water. So all subjects are involved in a project, so correlation happens. Then initiative and self activity, you yourself take the responsibility to do it, so it's a lot of self initiative and activity. Keenness, accuracy of observations, natural, spontaneous, and interesting. And you get a taste of how to take up a challenge and solve a problem. So several advantages are there for a project method. Limitations, it take a lot of time. So to complete a project, one project itself can extend for a week or even a month. So time is an issue. Then every topic in the science again cannot be converted into a project and being done. Sometimes after, the child might do all the activity, but what about the science behind it? Did the child really learn the science behind it? That's doubtful. So knowledge, learning of the knowledge required may not happen during a project. That's a big disadvantage. A teacher should be very proficient. It's not very easy for a teacher to find a set of problem situation for one particular topic, and then guiding them always. Students will be coming with varied, different ideas, and to deal with those ideas and guide them, that's also a big responsibility on part of the teacher, and the teacher should be very proficient enough to carry out, conduct such an activity. And then not every child will be able to learn from a project. So these are certain limitations. That's it. Thank you.